Eva, gracias. Ya sé que no das entrevistas.
Tengo miedo a hablar en entrevista.
Not only beautiful, but smart.
Yo era la prieta fea de mi familia.
Were you aware that you were a very beautiful woman?
Well, I'm still not.
Come on, Eva. Pues eres una celebridad de Hollywood. It's difficult. It's hard because, I mean, you're a sex symbol.
For some.
Pues sí, todos se acuerdan del bikini.
Yeah, no.
¿No?
Yeah, no, you know, and I don't shy away from that either.
No.
When some people go, I'm not, you know, a sex symbol. I'm like, yeah, great. I love it.
Tu equipo de trabajo son mujeres.
Believe women run the world. They definitely run my life.
The turning point in your career, also in your life, was Desperate Housewife.
Amazing experience to have.
And did you have any problem dealing with that, with celebrity fame? Déjeme preguntar, mami.
Don't say.
No. ¿El que te viste o el que te desviste?
No,
es muy sensual, ¿no? Claro. Is it the time to say goodbye?
No, ya estamos.
Siéntate. Ya, carnal. ¿Tienes enojo, tienes rabia, tienes coraje? ¿Mataste a tu hija? Yo te decía que me dieras un beso y no quería.
Sí, porque
Quítate la camisa, Joaquín. Muchas gracias, caramba. ¿Qué tal, Do you laugh at yourself?
Do I?
Are you shy, Sofía?
How shy I am. Para conquistar a tantas mujeres en tu vida, ¿qué hacías?
Los expresidentes son como los jarritos chinos. Están muy bonitos, pero ¿qué hago con ellos?
Oye, que tiene razón.
¿Tienes algo? Esas son viejas, caramba. Eva, gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Especialmente gracias porque ya sé que no das entrevistas, no te gusta dar entrevistas. Y yo le preguntaba, ¿pero por qué? Porque es una gran conversadora, es divertida, hemos coincidido en algunos lugares. And you're a lot of fun and you enjoy yourself.
No, me da miedo, especialmente en español. So vamos a hablar Spanglish, ¿no?
Exacto, es la mejor manera.
No sé, tengo miedo a hablar en entrevistas y no me gusta hablar de todas mis cosas. No, creo que la gente da igual, que ellos no, they don't care.
Do you really think that? No, they do care. That's why a lot of magazines make so much money and they sell so much, no?
Yeah. People obviously
care. Yeah, I know. Obviously
they would care that I'm wearing
yeah, tell them. Tell them. Es que le dije a Eva que qué bonitas sus botas.
Que son Jimmy Choo's.
Le digo, una marca de zapatos muy conocida, cara, ¿no? They're expensive, es cara. Y entonces le digo, qué bonitas tus botas, son Jimmy Choo. Y me dice, no, hombre, las compré aquí en el pueblo. No, es que estamos en México, coincidimos. Y yo le dije, Eva, vamos a hacer una entrevista. Y me dijo, sí, claro. Pero ella pensó que 5 minutos, yo creo. Y no, vamos a conversar largo y yo espero que tengas que sea una conversación agradable para ti también. Y el público yo sé que se va a divertir mucho. Porque eres una mujer, yo te preguntaba si eras tímida, if you were shy.
Sí.
Pero eres una mujer muy sencilla, ¿no?
Sí.
You're very humble.
Sí, no, yo no soy tímido. That's not the right word. No, I love talking to people I know and people I'm very comfortable with, and I love to be accessible to people. You know, I work so much with children and with my foundation and with people all over the world, and I think it's important that you have to be able to recognize and identify something in them that relates to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I always relate to people on every level. I love talking to people all over the world.
I have a confession to make. Mm-hmm. When I was thinking about asking you for an interview, I thought you were going to say no, Because it was all of a sudden, and you would say, "No, I have no makeup. No,
Well,
I'm
that
not
is
dressed
worrying
up,
me.
But you look amazing, and I love that you say, "Yeah, let's do it." No, es que that's fascinating porque pues eres una celebridad de Hollywood.
Right. No. Yes, so please excuse my hair and makeup because
¿Cómo se ven, muchachos?
estamos
Guapísima.
pero estamos en un rancho ahora.
Estamos en un rancho.
Sí, no tengo mi equipo de
Pero te
de,
Bueno.
that they create the illusion.
No, pero para que la gente vea que es bella tal y como es, porque además I truly believe que la belleza es interior,
Sí.
¿no? And you always show what you have inside.
Sí, claro.
Do you agree?
Sí, porque when I was little, yo era la prieta fea de mi familia, and I was the only one born in my family that didn't have light blonde hair and light eyes and light skin. I was very dark, and I had black hair, and so they called me the ugly duckling. So I found that my sisters were so pretty, and everybody thought, oh, these little girls are so beautiful, and who's this?
No.
Oh, yes, all the time. They said I was adopted, that they found, my sisters said they found me at the hospital. Oh, no, they were horrible because I didn't.
Bullying.
I didn't look like them. And because of that, I think I developed other things. I didn't depend really on anything physical, anything that people identify as beauty on the outside.
When were you aware that you were a very beautiful woman?
Well, I'm still not.
No. Come on, Eva.
No, I think that when people meet me now and I'm on these lists of most beautiful or the hottest woman or things like that, that it's because they know me as a complete person. They know, I'm many other things other than superficially. But it wasn't until college that I noticed people noticed me. That when I got attention, and I was like, oh, that was funny. I've never turned somebody's head before, a boy, And then I decided to become an actor, and I thought I was really funny. And so I knew I wanted to do comedy, and that's when, when I got to Hollywood. There's no other place.
How did you go to Hollywood? I mean, you were born in Texas, no? Where in Corpus Christi?
Yeah.
And you started there, college also?
In college,
In
yeah.
college.
Yeah.
And then you said, you decided, I want to be an
One day.
actor. And then
Yeah.
what?
And then I became an actor. No.
Well, you got
no,
lucky
it was
because-
very lucky, a lot of luck. But I always say luck, the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Of
So you have
course.
to be prepared for the opportunity. You're lucky to get the opportunity, but you have to be ready. When I was in college, I mean, I didn't grow up wanting to be an actor. We had a TV with 3 channels on it. We didn't have cable. We didn't go to the movies. We couldn't afford to go to the movies. So I didn't grow up with this essence of what kids today have of celebrity. I never even heard that word, or fame or famous. That wasn't
Even in vocabulary.
Even in my vocabulary, it wasn't even in my world. And so I went to college, and I graduated college.
You had no role model in that, like
Not
in
in
celebrity
that.
in that.
No, my role models in
Your
my
mother?
life were my mother and my sisters. I come from a very big family of women. So I have 9 aunts, and I have 3 sisters, and I have, so many female cousins. I was surrounded by women, and I was surrounded by very smart women. I was surrounded by very educated women. Everybody in my family has a college education.
Also, your mother? She's Mexican, no?
Well, we're 9th generation Texans.
Okay.
But we're of Mexican descent. Yeah.
Okay,
We definitely
okay.
came through Mexico, and settled in Texas for many, many, centuries.
Okay.
And so I strongly identify with being Mexican. I mean,
A
that's
Latina.
Yeah,
No?
definitely. Yeah. My parents speak Spanish to each other in the house. They just never spoke it to us. And growing up with all of these women, they were my role models. So I always
Okay.
knew I wanted to go get my education and become a teacher or work at a college or just have a good career, a good job. I didn't really.
And then what?
think-
What happened? I mean,
then I was in a pageant, a beauty pageant, and I won. And it was a scholarship pageant, so you had to be smart.
Not only beautiful,
Not only
but
pretty,
smart.
But smart. And that was, my last year in college. And it was because I didn't have enough money to pay for school. And my friend said, there's a pageant, a contest. You should come. And if you win, you get
The scholars.
tuition. Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, and I remember first place was everything, tuition and books and dorm and money. And then second place was tuition and books. And third place, and I said, I just want to get fifth place because that was books. Like I said, I just need money for books. If I could just get fifth place, I'll be very happy. And then I won. And then I said, oh my God, what is this? So in my prize package was a trip to LA. So I won a trip to go to LA and compete.
You visit Hollywood.
And visit Hollywood and compete in modeling and talent competition. And I said, okay. And I kept putting it off because I was in college. And I said, I'll do it after I graduate. So after I graduated college, I went to LA, and I thought as vacation. Oh, I'll go.
Let's go.
For a week. And I went and I competed in this modeling talent competition, not knowing anything. I had never taken an acting class. I didn't take, no. And I won all of these other little categories. And then I had all these agents and managers wanting to sign me. And I said, what is this? What do you mean sign me? What's an agent? What's a manager? I didn't know anything. And so I go, I'm going to stay a month.
And see what happens.
What is this? I'm going to sign with this person and see what happens. And that was it. I just took a left turn.
And you
my
knew
life.
from that moment that was what you wanted to do for the rest? I mean,
it didn't come to me like a boom, I'm going to be an actor. I just go, I want to try. And I knew because I had my education, I had my bachelor's degree, I would survive. If I'm not an actor, I will get a job. And if I don't do this, I'm going to do this. If I don't do that, I'm going to do that. I knew I had so many opportunities and options in my life because I had my education. I felt so secure that I could get a job doing anything,
What
anywhere.
did you study?
Education.
Education?
Which in kinesiology, which is study of the movement. I was going to be a physical therapist or sports medicine, and I just loved. I loved being in school. I love academia, and that's why I went back to get my master's. But so when I moved to LA, I got a job, a 9-to-5 office job, as a recruiter, as a headhunter, somebody who finds people jobs. Yeah. And then I would audition in between. So, and I remember I became so good at my job that the CEO was like, "You should don't pursue acting. 1 in a million people make it.
Wow.
You're really good at this. You should do this." And I was making so much money as a recruiter at my job. So much money that my first break I got was Young and the Restless, which was a soap opera. And I made more in my job than I did as in the soap opera. Yeah, it didn't pay well. So I did both at the same time. I was a recruiter while I was in my dressing room at Young and the Restless. Yeah.
What do you think of this stigma that if you're beautiful, you're necessarily not intelligent or not well prepared? What do you think of that? Because I guess you have to be in favor of women and women empowerment, no? So what do you think of that? I mean, because it is a stigma.
Oh, yes.
All over the world.
I've had to, when people go, "Oh, you're pretty, so things must come easy to you," I said, it's actually harder because the things I want people to know about me have nothing to do with my beauty. And I do find I go up against that a lot more than it opening doors for you. "Oh, you're so pretty. It must be so easy for you." I'm like, no. When I was, when I do my political activism and when I'm arguing for immigration or arguing for education rights, I want people to hear what I'm saying. And
just looking at you.
Yeah, not just looking at me.
It's not about the looks.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
And it's difficult. It's hard because, I mean, you're a sex symbol.
For some.
Pues sí. Todos se acuerdan del bikini.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, and I don't shy away from that either.
No.
When some people go, I'm not, a sex symbol. I'm like, yeah, great. I love it. It's much
Claro.
better than
Exacto.
being the opposite. I welcome it. I think it's, it's still a part. It's also a part of me and a part of what I created with what I was on Desperate Housewives, and so I know that's the role I played and that's what I projected at the time, and I just wanted people to know I was more than that, but it doesn't mean I'm not that.
Claro.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No es excluyente. It's
Sí.
not either one or the other.
Yeah.
¿No?
We're many things, and I think that's the misconception about women is that everybody knows we're complex, but we're complex in such deep ways that I love meeting other women who are equally complex and equally layered, and they have so many things about them. Because I grew up with women, I love women. I collect amazing women in my life, whether...
Do you have good friends?
Very good friends.
Really?
Amazing friends, yeah.
Female friends?
Yes, I've created this other sisterhood in my life with amazing, smart women.
Yo decía que te he visto en otros lugares. Tu equipo de trabajo son mujeres, ¿no?
Sí, claro.
En su mayoría mujeres.
Siempre, ¿no? Mi agente es una mujer, mi manager es una mujer, mis amigas que hacen mi fundación son mujeres. No, I believe women run the world. They definitely run my life. But I feel like, women can juggle so many things, and they think outside the box, and they think fast, and they think deeply, and they have a level of compassion that sometimes I find is only in a woman.
Ahora, the turning point in your career, y podría pensar que also in your life was Desperate Housewives, ¿no?
Yes.
¿Cómo fue?
A big part of my life. It was 10 years of my life to do this show. It was, same, an audition. I mean, it wasn't any magic.
Your agent told you
it
there's a
was the
casting?
same. I didn't get spotted at Starbucks and somebody says, you're going to be a star. No. It happened, my whole career was not overnight. I mean, I was an extra for years. I would just want to be on a set and be an extra. And then I got one line, and then I got 2 lines, and then I got 5 lines, and then I got, and I really touched every rung of the ladder in getting to where I was. And so by the time I got Desperate Housewives, I had already 1 TV show underneath me. So I was experienced, I was prepared, I was ready, and then this opportunity came where they said, there's this show, and you should read it, and you should go audition. And I said, okay. And I was 28. Yeah, I was 28, 27, 28. And the role was 40. It said Gabriel Solis, 40. And when I went to the audition, it was all 40-year-olds. And I said, I'm
Too young for this?
I'm too young. It's a nice thing to be.
Yeah.
The first time in Hollywood.
I'm too young for this, sorry.
I'm too young for this. No, and I was like, I'm never going to get this because it's obviously an older woman. She was married and was having an affair and was very experienced. And I thought, even in myself, I was like, I don't identify with any of those things because I'm not those things. And then I went in and I auditioned for Mark Cherry. And that day I had 6, 7 auditions. So I was
Exhausted.
It was the last one of the day. I was changing in the car to doctor and lawyer. And then what is this one? Oh, this is the mother. Got it. Okay. And I was in my car driving to audition. So by the time I got to Mark Cherry's audition, who wrote Desperate Housewives, and these auditions are so fast. You go in, they go, okay, thank you, next. Next. It's so fast.
It really is like that? Like
they don't
in
talk
the movies,
to you.
like...
They don't, what did you think? Nothing.
Nada.
They don't, no. You go in, you do your audition. You
Eva
leave.
Longoria, 27 años.
Yeah. And do your lines, and then you go. So when I walked in to Desperate Housewives audition, I remember I didn't read the script. I read my part because I had 6 other things, and they don't ask you anyway. And I sat down, and Mark Cherry goes, "What did you think of the script?" And I go, I
loved it.
I said, you know what? I didn't read it. I only read my part. And my part's really good. I love my part. And he said he knew I was Gabriel Solis in that moment.
Really?
Because it was the most selfish thing to say.
Y así era Gabriel. Claro.
And Gabby is selfish. He thought it was the funniest thing that I was honest and was like, no. And I don't even care about the other parts. But this part, I love. And he said, he knew. He's like, the first time you walked in, I knew you were Gabby. And then they changed the role. They changed it to younger because the network, because I was having an affair with the gardener, I remember ABC did not think she should be 40 because he was 17. So they said, maybe if she was younger, he wouldn't be so bad.
Sí.
I think it's still
Not
bad.
that bad.
Not that bad. Not as bad. And then...
Well, 27, 17, that was the deal?
She was 30. You know, Gabby was
30,
like 30 and
and
he was 18. Then they made him 18. But it was funny because even then, so I get the audition, and no, you never know what's going to be a hit. You do a pilot, which you hope, gets picked up for 13 episodes, but you never know. Nobody was prepared for the explosion and the phenomenon and the global success of it. And I was so young, and it was really my first success. So I didn't know I didn't know how to handle any of it or how to deal with any of it. But it was amazing. It was an amazing experience to have.
And did you have any problem dealing with that, with celebrity, fame, money, etc.?
No, because even though I was young in age of, 28 is very young, I was old enough to not be a teen star or not to be Justin Bieber's age or Lindsay Lohan, these who've been since childhood given things that they can't handle. So being at 28, I already knew how to handle money. I knew how to handle, my finances and that. And I was very confident in who I was. So when the press and the tabloids and all the attention comes to you and tries to define who you are, I already knew who I was. So I was in a really perfect place for that to have happened because I was very grounded in who I was. I have an amazing family who grounds me every day. I had amazing friends I've already established since, my childhood. So it didn't change me, but everything around me changed. People
changed towards the approach, no?
Yeah. Yes.
And what did you think of that when it happened? What do you think now?
Luckily, I had amazing mentors in acting in my life, and I remember,
Who?
George Lopez was one of them. Who else? Melanie Griffin's a good friend of mine. Antonio Banderas is a good friend of mine, and I struggled and had successes with these people in my life, and they said, so when it happened, they would just give me advice. I was like, what happens when this or that? And they would say, be sure that, you don't change because everybody will change around you. Everybody's going to treat you differently. Everybody's going to see you differently. People are going to try to tell you what you are, like sex symbol, you are a sex symbol. And I said, thank you. I mean, that's awesome. But that's one thing. I'm also this. I'm also that. And, with my political activism and my philanthropy, I had been doing that since childhood because of my sister. So it was easy to continue that. So ever since I had a microphone.
Finalmente, era finally. Salud.
Salud. So ever since I had a microphone, I would immediately talk about world issues and politics. And so I was pretty set already. How it changed me the most was anonymity, the fact that everybody knows who you are and I don't know who you are, and I thought that was weird. I would go to China and
they know who you are.
Yeah, and there was no place in the world I could go where somebody didn't know.
What is it that you are interested in politics? Mm-hmm. Do you like politicians to start with?
I don't like politicians, nor do I like politics.
Okay.
I like the political process.
Okay.
Especially in the United States and having one of the best structured governments to give power to the citizens. I mean, I think, to have the democracy we have is just an amazing example of how to build a country. Mm-hmm. It's just, truly is the greatest country in the world. And the reason I'm politically active is because I find that people don't understand how to use this system that our forefathers and our creators of our country laid the groundwork for. And because they don't know how to use the system, they're at a disadvantage. And what I mean by that is Latinos. Latinos in the United States are the most disproportionately affected by policies made in Washington, but yet they don't participate in the policy-making process. So how, as a citizen, why am I affected by healthcare the most, or why am I affected by the economy the most, but I don't vote? I don't care. I don't even know what the process is. So I started to get involved to teach the
to
Latino
make them
community.
understand
To make them understand
how important it is for them to
your vote
participate, to
counts.
be active.
You
no?
must participate in this process because it affects you. It affects whether you can put food on the table. It affects if your child has a cold, if you can take them to the doctor.
Education.
It affects education the most, which is, one of the areas I'm most focused in for Latinos. So that's what I like about politics. That's what I like to get involved and to go and make a difference and to say, look, we created change. Mm-hmm. And we did that, when I was campaigning for Obama.
For Obama. What do you think about Obama right now? Not when you were campaigning for him.
I still believe in him. I feel the same way as I did when I campaigned for him. I have tremendous belief that he is capable of doing what he needs to do.
A difference?
I find.
Can he make a difference?
Yeah, I think, and he has made a difference. I think he did what a lot of people couldn't do, is he made people believe in the system again. In 2008, when he was first nominated, the amount of people that turned out were record-breaking numbers because he gave them hope that, this system can change. And then in the second election in 2012, it is amazing how he's been stopped and gridlocked and how the process hasn't been working. And so with him recently saying, he's going to be taking executive orders to make changes. He's not going to depend on Congress. And I think sometimes, when there's such partisan politics, there's the Republicans and the Democrats, and they're fighting so hard against each other that nothing's getting done.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
And that's frustrating, especially when for 2012, one of the main issues was education and the economy, but it was also immigration.
Of course.
Now we're kind of seeing that being stopped as well when it had so much momentum. And I think...
and it's past. The momentum is past a little
The
bit.
momentum is gone, but the hope for it to pass is not. And I think if you look at the economic imperative that it has on our country, it needs to be fixed. And I think everybody's invested, whether you're Republican or Democrat, they're invested in the economic impact it has if you just all of a sudden get rid of an entire labor force that a certain industry, agriculture, is dependent upon. You will find that is not possible to do. You cannot just fix it this way.
El rancho.
I love it. I know, we're on a run. There's going to be horses passing by any day, any minute now.
Horses, dogs, whatever. The lake is there, everything.
But what I care about is the moral imperative of these people in our country with immigration. There's, they're living in the shadows. They live in fear.
Are you confident that something is going to happen?
I'm confident some part will happen. A comprehensive immigration reform is very difficult now. I think it's not probable. But I think certain tenets of immigration, whether it's guest worker programs, securing the borders, or pathway to citizenship, I think they're going to start to break things up and try to fix them in a smaller issue. But I still have hope, and like I said, for me, I think it's economically, morally imperative that we get it done.
It has to. ¿Alguna vez te has sentido discriminada? I mean, you are American, your parents are American, but have you ever felt discriminated? Never?
I've been very lucky. When Arizona passed the Show Me Your Papers law, I just thought, my father is very dark. I mean, he's very, very dark. And I thought if somebody ever stopped him, he's 8th generation American, but he looks very Mexican. if they just stopped him by racial profiling, I would have been livid. It's so mad. I couldn't even tell
Very
you. So laws like that make me think about things like that. Like, I'm not discriminated against, but I know my community is. So I feel the pain just the same. And especially in education, you see discrimination every day against Latinos in schools. We don't call it a dropout rate, we call it a push-out rate. You know, they're literally being pushed out.
¿Tu familia se siente latina? Do you think of yourself as a Latin and your family?
Yeah.
They think of themselves as Mexican?
They definitely feel Mexican.
Where were they? From Monterrey, ¿no? Nuevo León.
The Longorias? Yes.
Sí, okay.
Definitely.
¿Quién llegó?
¿Por qué vienen a molestar?
¿Se sienten mexicanos?
Oh, yes, very much
Do
so.
you like Mexican food, Mexican
I love
culture?
Mexican food. I mean, obviously, I say I'm a Texican because I'm from Texas and Mexican.
Sí, sí, burritos y tal.
Yes, yes. You know, my whole family, they speak Spanish. They, you know, we eat Mexican food. We have mariachis at Christmas.
You like them?
I love.
Yeah, me too. I love
I
them.
love mariachis.
Do you sing or
No.
No?
That's the one thing I don't do. I do not sing.
Not even in the shower? No?
No.
No singing? No. Okay.
No.
No?
I can't. I
Never
can't.
tried?
I don't want to. No, I don't. No, I don't sing. It's not fun to me.
No.
I leave that to the professionals.
Pues sí. Pero entonces sí hay mucho de mexicana en ti, o sea, mucho de latina, porque eres muy apasionada, ¿no? And that's very Latin.
Yeah.
No?
I would think so. No, I always say soy mexicana de corazón because I really truly identify.
I just learned that you didn't speak Spanish 2 years ago.
Y todavía no hablo.
No, hablas muy bien. Hablas muy bien. Entiendes todo.
Sí, no, entiendo todo, yo puedo hablar, pero cuando estoy haciendo una entrevista, yo quiero hacer con las palabras más
precisas. Claro,
yes,
claro.
más articulate. Pero yo puedo hablar contigo en español tomando vino.
Exacto.
Y después
yo por
el
eso
vino,
dije, vamos a
soy
relajarnos
mejor.
un poco.
Soy mejor con el vino. Pero no, yo aprendí francés antes de español, porque mi ex marido. Y
lo que hace uno por los hombres, ¿verdad?
sí. The next I'm going to date an Italian just to learn Italian.
Well, you learned Spanish because of
my ex-boyfriend.
Your ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I
Bueno,
learned French.
que sirvan de algo. Que sirvan de algo. Exacto, que sirvan de algo.
They're good for something.
Exactly.
Yes. No, but I just learned Spanish, and my mother goes, "You speak Spanish better than I do now," and I said, "No, I don't." You know, they're very.
Are you speaking Spanish among each other now or no?
Yeah.
Your mother and your sister?
No, yeah, we
See?
speak Spanish. Yeah, since I learned 2 years ago, we definitely speak Spanish, and my mother will.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful language
Yes,
also,
yes.
and French is beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
I love French.
Cosas
I really
buenas
love.
has tenido,
I
te han
love
dejado
speaking.
los hombres.
No, me encantan las idiomas, me encanta, me encanta ir a un lugar en el mundo y tú puedes entender, tú puedes navegar, tú puedes andar, tú puedes survive, you can survive.
Sí.
And I like that, you know. And I like when people, you know, make the attempt to speak another language or learn another culture. That's what I think is very wrong with the United States is we're not culturally sensitive to other people. You know, 15%, I think, 15% of Americans have passports. That means you don't go and see that we live. We live in a global community. And if you see, that's why Europeans are so amazing, is because you have all of these countries on top of each other. You know, France is on top of, Spain is on top of, Italy is on top. I mean, everybody, so you have to learn other languages.
Sí.
In the States, we're so big that there's no really reason to learn another language. And I think we're the only country in the world that promotes monolingualism. English, English, English only. And I think that's a shame. We should learn all kinds of languages.
You're very close to your mother,
Yes.
¿no? Very close.
Yes.
¿Qué pensó cuando fuiste famosa y cuando Dijiste, me voy a Hollywood. And
No, she didn't think much. She said, it was funny. I remember showing her the first episode of Desperate Housewives. I mean, it aired on TV. And I said,
you
Mom,
watch it together? You
had to be in LA
okay.
and she was in Texas. But I said, Mom, what'd you think? And she said, you were in it a lot. And I said, I'm one of the stars.
Claro.
And she goes, okay, well, you did good. No, it wasn't really, it didn't really, hit them. And my sisters, too, who I'm very close with, my sister said...
Also, you're the youngest, no?
I'm the baby, yeah. And my sister goes, nothing's really changed. We just stay at nicer hotels. But my mother's the same. My mother, I own 2 restaurants.
El Beso, no?
Beso. Mm-hmm. And she was in Vegas at the Vegas restaurant. And she called me. She went to Vegas with my aunts, all my tias. And she said, Eva. And I said, yes. She goes, what can we order? And I said, order whatever you want, Mom. And she goes, but are we going to pay? Are we paying? And I said, no, you're not paying for anything. It's my restaurant. And she goes, okay, because your Aunt Didi ordered the steak, and I told her not to order the steak, pero tu tía. And I said, Mom,
Qué maravilla.
She can order whatever she wants. And then she calls me back. She goes, can we have dessert? And I said, yes. Mom, yes, you can have dessert. So she's still very, very, I remember the first time there was a chef. I had a chef in my kitchen, and she wakes up very early when she stays with me, and at 6 o'clock, and she wakes me up and she said, there's a man in the kitchen.
No es cierto.
And I said, Mom, it's the chef. She said, pero ¿qué hace ahí? I said, you tell him to make you breakfast, whatever you want. And she's like, no, I'm not going to ask somebody to make me breakfast. Because she's like, I can make my own breakfast. I said, oh, Mom. She goes, do I pay him if he makes the breakfast? And I said, no.
Already paid.
Just ask him to make you breakfast. It was very funny. She's very, they're very grounded. My family's very, very grounded. They met Obama, and my mom was, my mom and dad were like, hi.
Are they still together, Mom and Dad?
Yes, 50
Wow.
years.
50 years?
50
No.
years.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. It's
How do they
amazing.
do that?
How?
I don't know.
How did they do it?
Do you believe in marriage?
I believe in love. Yes. I've been married twice. We talked about this, but
Of course we believe in marriage. That's why we get married.
I did at one point. At one point in my life, I believed in the concept of marriage. But, there's a very big difference between marriage and love. And sometimes marriage gets in the way of love sometimes. And so I believe in the idea of being with somebody forever. And I love the idea of a couple. And I love love. I love the idea of love and being, taken care of by somebody else, and you taking care of that person and reciprocating these beautiful feelings. But, if marriage is for that couple, then I think it's beautiful. And if it's not, I think it's okay.
Do you think of divorce as a failure or no?
Yes.
You do?
I did.
Why? You did?
I
Not
did.
anymore?
Not anymore. Not anymore. That's why.
Because it's cultural. No?
That's probably why I don't want to get married, because I don't want to fail.
Again.
and again. That was probably an unexpected feeling I got after my divorce was, oh my God, I'm so good at everything I do. If I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be the best actor. If I'm going to do my charity work, I'm going to do it really well. If I'm going to be a cheerleader in high school, I'm going to be the head cheerleader. I mean, I always had this drive and ambition in my life. And so if I'm going to be a wife, I'm going to be the best wife. And
Or a desperate one.
Yeah, or a desperate one. And so I think that was one thing, was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my God, I failed at something. But you learn from it. You learn from your failures. And I've learned a lot from many of my failures, not just that one.
But you have to learn of your failures, no?
You have to be open.
You have to be
to
open
going,
to it.
ow, that hurt. Why? Okay.
And it's okay. It hurts. It's
Yeah.
okay. No,
Yeah.
no pasa nada.
No pasa nada.
No pasa nada.
No.
But it takes time to learn that, no?
Yeah. But I'm a very curious person about the world. So I'm very open to, wow, I screwed that up. Okay. next, you know, whether it's my career or personal. I love learning. I love falling down. I like learning and I like stumbling, and then I love the people around you who pick you up, and you see who those people are, and who's loyal and who's there.
Who sticks around, no?
Yeah.
And that's your family.
Yes.
Most of the times.
Yes,
No,
that's the family you choose
see.
instead of the family you were born with.
That's the extended family. Who do you live with in LA?
Oh
with
my
you?
gosh, I have a sorority house, I call it.
Really? Everybody
lives with me.
goes there?
I have a very big house, and I'm never home. I'm always traveling. I mean, I've been in Mexico almost, you know,
For?
5 months
Why?
now. Because I love Mexico.
Por?
I love Mexico.
Salud por eso.
And everybody in LA is like, when are you coming home? But I have a very big house, and so I've taken in little by little my girlfriends. So I have 2 girlfriends who live with me, and actually three, because one lives in Europe, and then she comes back, and then she goes back, and I love it. I love having a house full of women because it reminds me of when I grew up, and I love being surrounded by women, and well, one's getting married, so she's now moving out, and I'm very sad. And one had a baby.
She's going to be very sad
I
also.
know.
She doesn't know, but she will.
But it's great because I love to come home to a full house. I hate to come home to an empty house.
Alone.
Yes. I don't like to be alone. I love people around me all the time.
Now that you're rich and famous, there was a time when you were obviously not famous and not rich, but were you lack of, of money?
Did I lack anything? No, I've never lacked. You know, growing up, I thought we were fine, and looking back, I go, oh my gosh, we didn't have money, but I never lacked anything. I didn't. If I needed new shoes, they would figure out a way to get me new shoes, and if I wanted to join cheerleading, they would say you have to work. And I've always worked my whole life. I've worked since I've always had a job. So since I was 13, I've always had a job, and so if I knew I wanted something, I knew I worked for it. So I never did without. But it didn't mean I didn't sacrifice. And I was definitely never without love in my life. Never without support, and never without this feeling of family. So I never, ever in my life felt I would lacked anything. Yeah. Rich and famous is very deceiving, because so many rich and famous people lack so much in their life.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I was reading that Seymour, what's his name?
Yes, Philip Seymour.
Philip Seymour died. And I said,
Why?
why?
Para qué?
Rich, famous,
Yeah, yeah. Because
very talented.
they're lacking
Very talented.
in something human, you know, and you know, obviously addiction and all of that is very hard. But there's
But that's because of fame and success and
I
having
think,
everything.
I think it's very dangerous to conclude because he was rich and famous, this is why it happened.
That's too simple.
And it's not true. You know, I'm, rich and famous, and I'm not doing heroin. Like, it's very misleading to say fame caused that. I think fame magnifies who you are. And like I said, when I became
the good
famous,
and the bad and the weaknesses.
If you're a very bad person, it's only going to magnify that. If you're a good person, it's going to magnify that. I mean, it only brings it to focus what you already are.
Pero pienso que no debe ser, it shouldn't be very easy to deal with all this, no? Like,
it's not
with fame,
easy.
with
No.
success.
And some people fail at it.
Like 24 hours a day, everybody's watching what you do, what you say, what you wear, no? O sea, debe ser.
Yeah. But the thing
And they expect so much from you.
Yes, and they expect you to be okay with it, and nobody wants to hear a celebrity complain. They're like, oh, who cares, But I remember, you go through ups and downs in your career, so sometimes you're very relevant and people are wanting to know so much. I remember I couldn't go to the dentist without having paparazzi follow me, and I couldn't go to a doctor's appointment. I mean, every waking moment of my life was photographed. And I remember being tired and going, I don't like this. But I knew it would pass. It was like that year. It was that time. And now it's less, you know, and then I'm sure it'll.
Until the next.
Yeah. You know, when I started dating somebody new, it was a lot again. And I was like, oh my God. So, you know, you go through these periods, but, you know, you're not going to die if your picture's taken.
No,
You know.
no, pero es
But it's a lot to handle
very
if you don't
invasive,
have the
no?
infrastructure
Exacto.
to handle it. If you don't have the tools and the capacity and the intelligence to go, that's that. Sometimes people define it. There's, you know, a lot of actors I know that need it. And when they don't have it,
They
they're
do whatever they-
destroyed. You know, they need it. And I'm like,
They don't
"Eh."
care, no?
Yes, they don't care how they get the attention or but they just need it. They need it. And I am not that person.
Sí, sí.
Yeah.
¿Cómo te vuelves empresaria? Why did you decide to make a restaurant and then another one
Yeah,
and then
businesses. I've always been entrepreneurial. I love businesses. I like things that are measurable. So I always said if I wasn't an actor, I'd definitely be in corporate America because there's a barometer of success. You have quotas and you have goals and you have strategy and you
You
know
achieve these and
you
then
achieve it or you fail. In acting, there's no recipe for success. You could do an amazing movie and nobody sees it. You can do an amazing TV show and it fails. I mean, so I always liked corporate America. And so I find my businesses are structured that way. You know, there's profit and loss. It's very clear cut. You know, restaurants were also a passion of mine. I love cooking.
really?
I'm a big cook, yeah. And so that's really...
What's your specialty?
Mexican food.
No.
Yes.
¿Qué? What?
Yes, enchiladas, tortilla soup,
¿Picosas?
guacamole. Claro. Sí.
Mucho chile.
Sí, Chile.
Sí,
Yes.
Chile.
And I one of my girlfriends is Spaniard, and so every time I cook, she hates it 'cause she's
Sí,
like,
claro.
it's so spicy. And I'm like, it's not spicy. Yeah. No, I love to cook. So that was one of my passions. And then, you know, I did my fragrances, all my perfume lines, because I was allergic to perfume. I couldn't wear anything, so I wanted to create one that I could wear. And so that's really what that was born out of. And then I did my cookbooks, same thing, because I love to cook. And then, you know, so everything's been born out of some sort of passion. I sew, so I may be doing, yes, I sew clothes and dresses for
You have
friends.
your only for your friends?
Only, no, only for my
okay.
friends. But I wouldn't.
You don't have
I
your
might, No, I might do a clothing line one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you're with L'Oreal, no?
I'm with L'Oreal. Yes.
Bless you.
L'Oreal. Yes, L'Oreal was fun because I grew up La Prieta Fea. So
See, that was exactly what I wanted to ask. What do your sisters say now that
Oh.
you're the Prieta
I
Fea?
don't know. First of all, when I won that pageant in in college, I didn't invite anybody. Nobody was there. My mom came because she was driving to the ranch and it was on the way. But I didn't tell anybody I was in a beauty pageant. And when I won, I told my sisters and they go, "You are such a liar. You didn't win." They couldn't even believe that I won a pageant. Then when I did, when L'Oreal decided to sign me, L'Oreal was the lipstick my mother always used. It was the same red lipstick. I don't know if you know L'Oreal lipsticks. They have like a fragrance. If you smell them, they have a certain fragrance that they've always used on their lipsticks. And so
You have that
I
that
grew
memory.
up. I have that memory of my mother, you know, buying lipstick, and this slogan of because you're worth it meant so much to me, because I find women undervalue themselves in everything, and you should you know be in a better marriage because you're worth it. You should get an education because you're worth it. You should have a better job because you're worth it. You should never settle, and I find that women settle. And so that whole empowerment behind the slogan of because you're worth it, because I'm worth it, I just was like, I can't believe I'm the spokesperson of this brand that I grew up with and represented female empowerment to me.
Wow.
And it was amazing to now be that person.
What do you do with your money? You invest? Or, no. Do you
I
have
buy
some-
very expensive shoes.
100
These
pesos.
were, 100 pesos.
Buenísimo. You buy whatever you like. Like I always say, I buy whatever I like, even if it's cheap.
Exactly.
No? Because, I mean, who cares? Pero, you... Ahora, ¿quién nos está parando? Do you manage your money? You invest your money, or you have an advisor? O sea,
Yes.
¿quién hace eso del?
No, I have a team that
You have a
manages my
team.
money.
Pero are you interested in that too? O sea,
Well, no. I mean, yes and no. I am smart enough to realize
exactly. That's what I want to
you
know.
have to hire people smarter than you.
Okay.
And so I have very smart people that I've hired to manage all of that. But definitely, I'm very frugal. I mean, I'm very
Whatever. no?
conscious of my money. I like to buy homes.
Yeah, that was. I wanted to ask you. What do you like buying? Homes.
Yes, homes.
Solo. No.
Only homes. But no, to the fact that my business manager goes, you don't need any more homes. And I go, I know, but
Where do you have home?
I have
In
3 in
LA?
LA.
Oh, 3.
3 in LA.
But ¿quién vive?
I
Nadie?
know. Well, I have a home in Malibu
Okay.
and 2 in Hollywood, but I rent one of them. And
New
then
York?
I have home in Texas. I always say land is the only thing God's not making more of. So real estate's always been
It's a good investment.
a good investment and something
Where
I
else?
like.
Do you have a house, home in
Texas?
Not New York?
No,
And abroad? No? Europe? No?
no, no.
And shoes, I guess you enjoy
Shoes and
buying,
bags,
no?
shoes
And
and
bags,
purses.
yeah.
I know.
That's
I
very
like shoes.
expensive.
I know,
No.
and they're getting worse.
And they're
It's
getting
worse and worse.
Was it always like that? No.
I
mean,
don't
a bag,
remember.
$5,000?
No. But I don't buy that. I actually don't buy the most expensive bags I have were gifts. I've never bought
Yeah,
myself.
me too.
But I'm not a big jewelry person. I don't have diamonds like Elizabeth Taylor, and I don't. Shoes. Shoes are like $1,000 sometimes, and I go. Even then, I go. That's a lot of money for shoes.
It is a lot of money
Yeah.
for shoes.
Yeah, but I'm very conscious of it, and I'll say, I just bought shoes, last month. I'm not buying anything this month. Or if I do a job, like I know I'm going to go to Australia to do an appearance, and I go, I'm going to take a little bit of that money, and I'm going to not care,
Okay.
But I'm still very,
My
very.
daughter the other day-
I look at every bill and every credit card.
You met my daughter, and she sent me a message the other day with a picture that says, "Life is too short. Buy the damn shoes."
That's good.
It's good.
That's good.
Pero for me, it's also difficult. I mean, it's expensive for a pair of shoes.
It's
no?
very expensive.
Very expensive.
It's gotten out of hand.
Sí. Pero es parte de la frivolidad y del glamour. Y...
But if you think, like I said, if you think about it, at least you're not buying diamonds. Relative. It's all relative.
Sí. Ahora, in terms of acting, what are you doing now? Because you directed also.
Yeah,
No?
yes.
And you're producing?
I'm producing.
You're producing.
Yes.
And what's next?
Since I left the show, I've just gotten behind the camera.
It's been how long since you
2.5 years.
2.5
Not very long.
Sí,
People
no.
think it's, people think
And it lasted how long?
8 seasons.
8 seasons.
Yeah.
Wow.
8 seasons. But since I ended the show, I wanted to disappear from acting for a minute and let people forget about Gabby Solis. And I decided to. I've always been producing now. I've been producing even when I was on Desperate Housewives. I went back to school and I got my master's degree in Chicano history, and then I campaigned for Obama. So that kind of took up my whole year. I just took off and just focused on like real world issues. And then I was producing and directing. I produced Devious Maids. I just directed Devious Maids. And then I have 8 TV projects in development. And I love it. I love being a director and a producer more than an actor, because you have total control of the final product. As an actor, as talent, you just sit here and you say your lines, and they all edit it, and they put the music, and
They're responsible
They're
for-
responsible for the final product, and I always felt like I'm out of control of the final product.
So you're a control freak?
I'm definitely a control freak. Very much, very, very much. Yeah, and so I like it. I like it because I like to have control of every part. I like to touch every part: the music, the editing, the casting, the acting.
Broadway?
I just got offered a Broadway play, and I turned it down.
Why? You've never done Broadway?
I mean, not singing, but a play on Broadway.
No, sí. Singing,
No,
ya quedamos que no.
I've never done Broadway. nor do I have a desire to do Broadway.
Why?
I don't. To me, it's suffocating to think of doing the same lines every night and twice on Sunday, and to be locked in New York for a year or a year and a half or 6 months. I can't be in one place. I have to travel. If I can't travel, I get anxiety and claustrophobic.
Sí, sí. Pero dicen que estar on stage is like the best feeling of all.
Yeah, I've been on stage, not on Broadway, and I get it's a whole different world, which the director was telling me when he offered me the part, and I said, I don't get it. I get it. I get that there's something magical, I'm sure. That's just not one of my goals or desires. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Like, I don't, yeah, I'd much rather be here in Mexico
than having to be there.
Than being freezing in New York right now.
Yeah, freezing. Ahora, 2 more questions. Do you miss Gabrielle or no?
I miss Gabby a lot. I miss Gabrielle Solis. I do. She was so funny and so fun. I look back on Twitter, people will send me old clips and old scenes, and I will laugh out loud going, I forgot how funny she was. And she was so layered and complex and complicated, and the show was so good, and I didn't really get to appreciate it till after. Because when you're in it, you don't really think about it. You don't have time to think about it. So now that it's passed, I reflect upon it as a beautiful, beautiful, fun experience.
Do you identify with Gabriela at some point or no?
At some point, I did, because at the beginning I didn't. She was selfish. She was disloyal. She was a horrible wife. She was a horrible friend. She was narcissistic and egotistical. And then throughout the series, she evolved into a wonderful mother and an amazing friend and very loyal, and she was amazing. And so that person towards the end I really identified with.
What about motherhood? Do you want to be a mother? Or?
You know, when I was married, I wanted a family. I never had this desire to just have children. I always wanted to have a family, a father and a mother and children. I think, that's what I always wanted. So now that I'm not married or in that space, I'm okay. I'm okay. If it happens, it'll happen. If not, it won't.
I used to like you a lot, but now I like you much more. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I've had a wonderful time. Aww. And it's been, ¿cuánto llevamos? 50 minutos. It's been an hour. What do you...
Only because you gave me wine. I was not able to.
No, it's not the wine. It's a good conversation. I mean, we had fun, no? Okay. ¿O no?
Sí,
claro. Maravilla, te dije que no iba a pasar nada, no pasa nada.
Ay, gracias.
Yo lo disfruté mucho. Espero que tú también. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you very much.
It was great, ¿no? No.
Oh, it's so fun.
Sí, no se sintió una hora. Te veo ahorita ahí. Okay. Ahora te veo. Gracias.